In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how I make skin softer and give it a little bit of a glow. I use this a lot when I design my wedding albums on brides, and soccer moms also love it. And I start just about the same way I do every other project. I start by making a copy of my background layer. And that'll preserve the original photo in case I screw something up. I'm going to start by taking a look at any kind of blemishes I can fix with the patch tool or the spot healing brush. And the first thing I see is there's some shininess on her forehead. I want to get rid of that. And I see a little bit on her nose. Just a little more right here. That's great. I'll Control D to deselect. And what I'm going to do after that is I would normally get my lasso tool and I would isolate the skin by drawing a selection just inside the boundaries. Now that'll take way too long and I don't feel like boring you with that, so what I did is I saved the path and I'm going to just load it just as though I had drawn it from scratch. There it is. What I'm going to do after that, since it's a hard selection, is I want to select feather. I want to feather it by 10 pixels. Now this is a high resolution photograph. If you're using a lower resolution photograph, I'd recommend less pixels. And next thing I'm going to do is isolate it on its own layer. So I'm going to Control J, and I'll take that selection and paste it into its own layer. And that's what you have here. It's got a feathered edge, and it's on its own layer. Another thing I want to do with that is I want to lock the transparency on that layer, because in the next step we're going to blur it a substantial amount, and I don't want the boundaries of that image that's on that layer to expand any more than they already are. So I'm going to blur, Gaussian blur. Again, this is a high resolution image, so I'm going to blur by 20 pixels, and that looks pretty aggressive right now. So what we're going to do, we're going to knock back that layer to 40%. And you can see it's looking a little more lifelike, but you can see that her eyes are also blurred. Her eyes, her eyebrows, her lips, we don't want that. So what we're going to do, we're going to apply a layer mask to that layer. And we're going to get a paintbrush, and we're going to paint on that layer mask with black. And we're going to actually cut through that layer mask. And I'm going to go over the eyes, and you see it's actually cutting a hole in it, so the eyes are no longer blurry, nice and sharp, just like they should be. And same way with her eyebrows. I want to get her lips. Inside her nostril, that should not be blurry. And also any jewelry that got blurred. You might want to take care of that too. So that gets nice and shiny and sparkly. And she looks fantastic, but we want to do one more thing. I want to add just a little bit of extra pop. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a curves layer. And I want to place a point on the midtones. And I want to punch it up a little bit. And what that did, that punched up the midtones in the entire photo. I don't want that. I want just the skin areas. Just the skin areas we already had selected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down my Alt key, and I'm going to click in between these layers. And what that did, it applied this curves layer to just the layer below it. And now it looks fantastic. Let's take a look at what we did. We added that little extra pop. It softened the shadows. And you can see here's where we started. She looks good, but she's a little bit, could use a little bit of work, a little bit of shininess there. We added the softness layer, and we added the pop.